we are live. And good evening and welcome to the February meeting of the Greenways Open Space Committee. And thank you all for coming on this cool evening. I will call the meeting to order promptly at 7 o'clock. And could we please stand and let us say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, good to see everybody. Nice to be seen. At this point, I would like to call the roll, and so Urbani.
Present.
Carson.
Here.
Brown.
Here.
Geist.
Here.
Phillips.
Here.
Shelton. Robinson called and said that she had a family commitment. Bartlett.
Here.
And Brock. And I believe James is ill, from what I was received an email on that. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda as you see presented?
Oh, yes. I'd like to add under the discussion item about social media and postings on Instagram for the Greenways Open Space Committee.
Social media and Instagram. So we will make that discussion item number 4. I would like to move an action item, goals and objectives from 26, 27. I'd like to move that to discussion, and we will make that number 5.
Let's back up. We need to
move to
approve Mandy's.
So
I was going to do it
move.
collectively. You can do them collectively.
Okay.
Yeah, they're additions, plural. Okay. Any other? So I'd like to make that to move the goals and objectives to discussion item.
Will that be discussion item number 5?
That'll
then?
be discussion item number 5. And then I would like to add just a very brief commentary, or at least a discussion on the Grozeal 250th anniversary planning event that's coming up actually next week. But again, we'll open it up to at least some thoughts that we can talk about. And I think some of you are already aware of what's going on with that. I think just prior, for those of you who are interested, just prior, there will be a podcast talking about the 250th anniversary of Grozeal, which obviously corresponds to the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. So I think that'll be it'll be a lot of fun and a good event. Okay, now, are there any other additions or deletions to the agenda?
Discussion anniversary, that'll be discussion item number 6, I believe.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. I would like then to entertain a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
So move.
So move.
Second.
Second by Mr. Urbani. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the agenda as amended, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Good. Thank you. I think you have in your packet, if you haven't already received it, and again, thank you, Mr. Geist, for providing the minutes. It's a front and back page. So if you want to take a minute to take a look at the minutes, or you can take 2 minutes to look at the 2 minutes, we can then have a motion to approve the January 6th meeting minutes that you see before you.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Urbani. Second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Phillips. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the approval of the January 6, 2026 minutes, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Good. Motion passed. This is the time in our meeting when we have public comment, and please limit your comments to 3 minutes or less, and no disparaging remarks. So at this point in time, there are no public comments that we hear. Nor are there any presentations that you see on your, unless somebody wants an impromptu presentation, no presentations on, as the spirit moves you? No. Okay, so I think we have some action items then that we will approve. And I think our first action item that we have is approval of board member Raymond Geist to be on the Greenways Open Space Committee for another 3-year term. I need a motion to approve Mr. Geist as a board member to the Greenways Open Space Committee, and I believe he has consented last I talked to him, unless he's changed his mind.
No.
No.
So moved
No,
before he can
no,
change his
like you
mind.
said, no, like you haven't changed your mind.
I have
or
not
no,
changed my
you-
mind. I was answering your question
Okay,
directly.
thank
So,
you.
yes.
All right.
So moved.
So moved by
Yep.
Ms. Bartlett,
Second.
second by Ms. Brown. Any further discussion? We'll try this way now. Since this is an action item, we'll have the roll call at this point for that approval. So this way you're a real official, Ray. Urbani,
Yes.
Carson,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Geist, you can
I'm
abstain,
abstaining.
okay? Phillips,
Aye.
Shelton's not here, okay? Bartlett,
Yes.
Stevenson, aye. Okay, thank you, Mr. Geist, for your good service.
Signing up for another hitch.
Okay, now, our next order of business is the election of officers for the 2026 year, and we usually elect officers for just 1 year at a time because we know, how things are and how things change in people's lives. But there are only 2 offices unless we want to create more and, and make this a real bureaucracy. But are there any nominations for the 2, and I think we can do these together, the president and the secretary?
Well, I nominate Bill Stevenson for chairman.
Okay. Right, chairman, correct, not
Yes.
president.
I second for
That's
Bill
what happens.
Stevenson
Power
as
goes-
chair.
Power goes to your head, See, that's what happens. Power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely. But it's like, come on.
Tyranny. We're going to call you president.
Yeah, okay, well, I've been called worse, but it's like, come on. Okay, yes, chairperson and secretary. Should be administrative assistants if we're trying to be politically correct. But yes, but it's, chairperson and secretary. So are there, and following Robert's Rules of Order, well, I guess we'll do this separately, Are there any further nominations from the floor? Are there any further nominations from the floor? Are there any further nominations from the floor? So at this point in time, the nominees for chairperson of the Greenways Open Space Committee for 2026 is William Stevenson. Now I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Bartlett,
Second.
second by Ms. Brown. Any further discussion?
Well, didn't we just approve the secretary?
No, we're doing them one at a time now, so, okay.
Sorry.
Okay, but thank you. All those in favor of that motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. The motion passes. Okay. And I probably should have done a roll call on that too. Our next, sorry, old habits die hard. Okay, the next office that we have to, and I would like to nominate Raymond Geist for secretary.
I'll
I
second.
need a
So
second.
moved.
So moved. Okay. Any further discussion? Are there any further nominees from the floor? Are there any further nominees from the floor? Are there any further nominees for the office of Secretary of Greenways Open Space? Hearing none, I would call the vote. And at this point in time, all those in favor of Raymond Geist as the Secretary of the Greenways Open Space Committee for 2026, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Abstain.
Abstain. Okay, good. Motion passes.
For the record, who made the motion and who seconded? So
We all did. Actually, for the record,
Mickey
I
moved.
did.
I think
I moved.
Bartlett did and Ms. Phillips will give you the second. I heard Bert too. All right.
And just for the record, we didn't mean to hesitate, but we weren't quite sure when we were getting to that point where we were supposed to.
We understand.
Trying to get the right keys.
We're just happy you're doing
I
it.
just read that, so, no, I didn't read it. I think the 3 times you got a call for nominees. So just trying to be right. All right. Now, the other issue that we have to set, at least establish, is the dates and the times for the meetings. So is there any discussion, or our meetings have been held since, I guess, time immemorial, since this committee's been around, since on the first Tuesday of every month at 7 o'clock. Is that, do we want to modify that? Do we want to change that? Any comments or questions on that?
I
Because we
see no
can,
need to change.
we can set,
I think it works well.
seems to work.
Keep
Ray, you good?
fine.
Okay. Bert?
Yep.
Yeah, you're okay? This is a good time? Every time, wait, every time's a good time with the Greenways Open Space Committee, I know. But, okay. Well, I would then entertain a motion.
now also we do not have meetings in July, August, and December.
We're gonna make that part of the motion. Very good. So, we are going to, the motion will read that we would keep the meetings first Tuesday of the month, 7 o'clock, in the Merle Solomon Boardroom, which we have here, with the exception of July, August, and December. Is that what, are we good on that? And
Right.
realizing that from time to time, if we have to call a special meeting in any of those months, or even double up like we do, this is such an amenable group that they are generally been very flexible and they're able to do that, so. But again, July, August, and December are good, so it gives you a little time in the summer, yes? And around the holidays.
That's great.
Okay. So, do I have a motion in that regard? Is it moved?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Geist,
Second.
second by Mr. Carson. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion to approve the first Tuesday of the month, 7 o'clock, with the exception of July, August, and December, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions? None. There are none. The motion passed. Okay. So now, moving right along. Our first discussion item is the study session that we're having on Saturday. And again, one of the reasons we're having it is we still have a lot of work to do between now and the end of our fiscal year, which is March 31st. But I think we can facilitate that in a couple of ways, as we will see. And it's been the request of some of our members that we'd like to have, first off, we're going to have Derek Thiel, the township manager, is going to join us, and the new, is it Sean, and his last name escapes me at this point, the new DDA manager is also going to join us, okay, and we'll answer questions particular to the DDA and as it affects open space. But I think our order of business will be, we're going to talk about proposed millage specifically for open space coming up in 2026, so that'll certainly be on the agenda. And in doing so, tonight we're going to talk about it and we'll see it, but we'll also be able to like revisit what we're covering tonight a little bit, particularly about the budget, okay, in terms of like what our budget is currently and what we've been spending at least in the last couple of years. And then what we're able to do in terms of like why we need a millage. And I think they'll become evident tonight when we take a look at our, how much money we still have in the bank. Okay? So that's important. The other piece that we've been working on is the encroachment piece. And again, that'll be part of the discussion. And I think since the DDA and, is involved in that, and the zoning administrator, James Brock, reports to Sean as his boss. I mean, so he'll be able to, and I'm not so sure, and I don't, maybe some of you could speak to this, I'm not so sure. I mean, I think the guy just started, right, just like the 12th. So he's only been on the job for a little bit. I'm not so sure he's been made aware of, like, oh, by the way, this is now one of your responsibilities. I mean, he maybe
Oh, okay.
has been. Do you know if he has or not, or that he's?
No, I haven't had a chance to talk with them yet.
Yeah, right.
And
Okay, so
so-
this will be our time. So this will be a
Right.
good thing.
Right.
Okay. But other than that, and again, you know, I think we're moving towards, and it's not necessarily our responsibility to come up with an ordinance relative to encroachment, but we certainly have a policy that that, to my knowledge, when, you know, no offense to anyone, it was kind of like, oh, here's the policy, and we didn't really have any say in it. So I'd like to think somewhere along the line, one of our action items for next month will be, oh yeah, we should probably adopt this since we're gonna be involved in it, okay? So I don't think it's been formally adopted by us. It's certainly a procedure or a policy that's been followed. But the other piece to that is about the ordinance, like, do we have an ordinance, and what does it say, and what doesn't it say? You know, or if there isn't one, then, you know, that's why we're studying it. So any question about that in terms of, like, so on Saturday, 9 o'clock, I'll bring the donuts. I'm trying to see if they have coffee or tea for us, okay, but we'll see. Are we good on that? I promise to, hard stop at 11:30, if not before.
Yes.
Yes, I know. Hey, Mandy, you know, I try to run them fast. Anyway, so that's it. Any other discussion or comment about the study session?
So do we need to do any, like,
Studying?
what are the resources for the study session? Or
Okay,
what's our
I will,
access to?
you're gonna have, because I gave it to you tonight, you already have the budget stuff, so please bring that, that would be good. I will provide the policy for that has been for the zoning administration and the enforcement policy relative to encroachment in open spaces. So we need to look at that again, and, you know, if there's some tweaking of that, I think that's important for us to have some input in that at that point.
Did you see
We're-
the
we're-
ordinance too?
Oh, go ahead.
Any ordinance language as well?
Well, that's what we're gonna look at,
Okay,
okay?
good.
So
So
I'll
you
provide
bring
that
that?
too. I'll at least come up with some, you know, some examples or what we can do.
Okay.
And I won't rely entirely for AI or anything of that nature, because then you're gonna get a real mishmash at times. But, yeah, so that'll be that, okay? And then, but again, I think we need to know and learn about, okay, so, you know, how much money do we need? How much, you know, how much can the taxpayers bear? Okay. I hate to get to a point, and I guess this is a point of our discussion, where, okay, no, we're not gonna do open space anymore, we're done. Okay, so, you know, nice working with you guys, and so, you know, we ran out of money. I mean, that happens, don't get me wrong, but it's just a question of, looking at the funds that we have had and how I think we've been fairly prudent managers of our monies. And we can talk about that. If you think we haven't, then we can go from there. But again, is it a quarter mil? Is it a tenth of a mil? Is it a half a mil? For how long? And I think Derek Thiel's gonna at least kind of help us with that, okay?
We probably also need to come to the table with what are our plans for the future,
Yeah, oh, yes. Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, right. I agree.
we know what those are? I don't know
Well,
that I know.
well, right
So,
off the,
I guess,
well, right off the, well, you know, okay,
on this
what's our,
purple
okay, kids, what's our major, what's our major, yeah, that's on the sheet, you're right, but what's our major expenses? I mean, that's a
maintenance.
question for this group, what's our major expenses?
dump the
Tree-
junk is a big one,
Dump the junk,
Tree removal.
twice a year, dump the junk,
right?
tree removal,
Yeah, maintenance of the trails.
the maintenance of the trails,
Yeah.
right,
signs.
okay. Anything else?
We're gonna need to
Are we
restore
gonna
some
do
properties.
new trails, like when we do, you know, what are plans for
That's a
future
good-
trails?
yeah,
Is it
exactly, that's a good,
connectivity, et cetera?
Right.
So, numbers on what it takes to create new trails.
Yes.
I guess that's part of,
right.
we'll have that
Maintenance
information,
and
Derek will
upgrade.
have that for us at
Right,
the,
or I'm not so sure, I think, I'm
mean,
looking
I
at
just
his
don't know where
expertise
you
to
get
come
that
to us and
info.
say, all right, if 1 mil, if you assess property on Groseal, it's gonna give you this amount of money, okay?
Yeah,
Half a mil is gonna give you the, so we'll be
Right,
able
we
to kind of
got that.
back it
Yeah,
and
that's
figure
easy.
out, like, well, what do we need, and for how long? I'd like to say in perpetuity, but that's not gonna happen. But you gotta put it within a framework. And you guys you're the project engineers, so I'm relying, but, it's just a question of, how we approach that. But I think we need the knowledge beforehand too, like, okay, like the mechanism to get to that point.
Though we need to set aside some money too to fix the damaged property from the encroachments.
Right.
And so I'd hate to put in new trails without figuring out a way to protect what we have right now and restore any property that's been damaged.
Right.
And
It's important.
yeah, and that'll be a nice project to figure out what to do with some of the larger encroachments. What
Right.
are we going to plant? What are we going to do with them?
And,
So-
and one of the discussions we've already had it with this group is that we've talked about, okay, if you don't want signs plastered all over Groseal saying this, we have a lot of those already that say, open space. But you also want to, like, on certain properties, rather than just have a sign, you may want to have like a fence barrier.
A
Wooden
wooden
fence
fence.
barrier, or something that at
something.
least delineates,
Right.
this is not your property, this is open space property. But that's a cost, and so we have to, even before we get to that, we have to maybe assess, how much of that,
would
how much do we need?
Do we need,
Yeah, so that's
I think we need to follow up too, and in a couple spots, let them know not to mow the grass, that we want it to go back to a natural state.
Right.
And so probably have to do some follow-up letters in the spring.
Yes, very much so, yeah, right now but any other comment or question about that? But no, your point's extremely well taken, I mean,
Yeah, well, and I think the later discussion item of our goals will help also.
Yeah, because that's
right?
gonna help guide, okay, what do we
Yeah.
need to get to that point?
Yeah.
That's gonna be, right, yeah.
And we also need to keep in mind that when we're talking about expanding things via trails or other things, that we also need to have the ability to maintain it, and from either a financial or a manpower standpoint, basically right now, this is what we have, and then,
Oh, yeah.
anything else has to be contracted out. For example, last summer, we had to hire an outside contractor to cut down the overgrown grass in the Meridian Woods because we didn't have the capabilities of doing that. So as we add more things to our portfolio, so to speak, we also have to have the ability to make sure that it keeps properly maintained so everybody has an opportunity to use it the way it's intended.
Right.
That's the nice thing about this group is we have the different perspectives, and so, like, basically you complete me. You have skill
seriously,
set
no,
I don't
that's-
have.
Yeah, yeah.
My
So-
God, that's why we're all on this committee. Because,
We all bring our own skill set, that's nice.
exactly. There's a good book by Doris Kearns Godwin about Abraham Lincoln, and it's called Team of Rivals. Okay, and not that we're rivals, but it's just a question of how. And Franklin Roosevelt had the same kind of thing. Like, he didn't want to have a bunch of yes people. Okay, he wanted at least diverse opinions, and I'd like to think that's the beauty of this group. Okay, is that we're not just like yes, yes, yes. Okay, that there's the good discussion. That's why we need
Project
to have it.
planning, visionary.
And
all the
expertise,
different
okay,
ones.
so we hit, your expertise is different from his or hers, so, yeah, that's the beauty of this group. So any further discussion about that? So yes, please, attend, and we'll discuss and see what we can do, and we'll try to keep it focused and move it along, so. Good. If you take a look at it's not the 2026-27 budget, but there's a couple there's in a packet here that has maintenance fund status as of 2/6/24 and as of 1/31/25. Everybody see that? That's the first page. And really what I want you to look at is like the kind of the bottom line. And then we can do we can play, I didn't have a chance to price it out like 5 years prior or 20 years prior, but you gotta realize it, and again, our budget, has fluctuated, but it's generally been under like $55,000 a year for many years. if you went back, and it's not on the sheet, to 23, 24, our budget was like 30,000. So we knew, for example, in 24, 25, that we were gonna be doing more trail maintenance and upgrade. That's why you see like a bigger number there, and so they're like an extra $3,000. We're, that's why that was there. But this year, 25, 26, you look at, so last year we budgeted 51.5, and we stayed under that last year. This year, 25, 26, you see 40,500. And and I know, because there were a lot of trees falling and a lot of stuff happening, okay, that many times that we went over budget to a degree, okay? Not by much, but it's still over budget's over budget. And, go ahead.
I guess I have a concern how useful these budget numbers are, because really it doesn't reflect how much we actually spent. And so, do we even have an idea what we spent and how close to, following these budgets we laid out?
Here, I'll get to the last page, or at least to the third page, I think will help you a little bit. All right, if you go, any question on the first page at least? Yeah, go ahead.
Removal of trash and debris,
Right,
budgeted 500 last year, but none this year.
yeah, it was a question of like, okay, did we have a major dumping of items like refrigerators, stuff like that we needed to pay for and haul away? And I think that one year we did, or the years prior that we did, and then we just, for some reason last year we did, for this year we just didn't budget it.
Okay.
I'm just saying, no, right, I'm not saying it's
I guess the
right, I'm
question, my question's coming, where did this budget come from then? Was this from
This
the
is-
township committee provided,
It was us.
provided to us?
That was us.
That's
We
us.
developed
Would
it.
do it, and then
When
the
did
board
we
approves all the budgets.
Well, I missed this, where did $0? My bad. What
No.
was it? Well, I didn't catch that then.
Right,
Okay,
okay, you good? All right.
I'm good, yes.
I can give an example. Okay, trail signs.
It's
One
not so
year it was
much
like
what it
$12,000 in trail signs, and then we budgeted like 9,000 because we were not going to add as many. Okay, and we didn't add as many. Okay, but it wasn't $9,000.
Sure. Right, but we don't know when there's gonna be trash and debris removal.
No, right.
So
That
why
was-
would we
that's
remove
that
that
would
as
have
a
been-
budget
no,
item?
I can't recall, to be honest with you.
Okay,
I wish I could give you a better answer, but I'm just telling you the truth. Okay, any other question on the first page? So the bottom line is, and keep in mind, whatever budget we put together comes out of like the maintenance fund, but monies that were allocated by the taxpayers of Grosseal, back almost, 20 years ago. So that's, money's been drawn down year after, am I right, year after year after year, and so now it was like, so this year, and we ended up spending like 46,000, as you're gonna see on the next page, right? So but there's an offset to that because there's interest there's given. So if you turn the page, the total number of, and if we take a look at this, the bottom part of it, where it says total fund balance, 159,403. And that's what we allegedly began with. And then there's our net revenues versus expenses. So it was like 41,711. As when was this? Was 116.26. So the money we have in the bank left from prior years, we're now down to $117,000.
Now, that 117,000 also includes monies from the acquisition fund, which we believe is about $20,000,
Right.
but we don't have anything
That we don't.
specific. We
right.
really do need the township to give us a firm number on what that is, because we can't use that money for maintenance.
Right.
And just going with, the estimate of 20,000, I'm not sure that
That's an accurate estimate,
Yeah,
right?
we want to just stay with that, unless that's what the township treasurer says, or whoever finance director,
Right.
whoever's in charge of that.
Ray, is that out of the 117,000?
I believe- yes,
Approximately
yes.
20 is for,
Yeah.
It's
Plan
for
for-
the acquisition
There were
fund.
two millages passed, one for acquisition of land, obviously, and the other one for operating maintenance. But the two of them cannot be, put together. So the last parcel we bought, going close to 3 years now, I believe, took our fund down to we figured about $20,000. But unfortunately, the numbers have been kind of, melded, and with the change in finance director and some different methodologies utilized in that, we don't have a good handle exactly what that amount is. That should remain separate from our maintenance budget.
okay.
Right.
A
So
little
we are going
long-winded,
to
I
run out.
apologize for that, so.
No, we are gonna run out soon.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
well,
definitely.
well, I'm not a mathematician, but if you're spending $45,000 a year and you have, 20 of that you have 117 in the bank, and 20 of that's dedicated to acquisition, well, that's your 2 years, you're out of business.
And dump the junk, I mean, that's really expensive. That means we wouldn't be able to do that. We wouldn't be able to maintain trails, so we would still own the open space property.
Right.
But you wouldn't be able to walk because those trails,
Get overgrown in a hurry.
they do when
Right.
trees are falling in that, so, it's
Yes.
gonna be critical to get a millage for this.
Well, that's why we're having the meeting.
Well, I think I say this every meeting too. I think it's important to continue, Mickey, to emphasize upon the master plan that open space was the number one priority of the citizens of the island. So I think we really need to go with that, because if that's who wants it, then that should give us some leverage for the millage.
I
Absolutely.
think right at the top was open space and public safety, and so there'll
Right.
be some stuff happening this year, and we just need to be sensitive. You
No,
know,
very much
that
so.
we watch the tax
Of
rates
course.
and.
The other
But
piece,
we're broke.
oh, go ahead. The other,
Right, we'll do it, but we
the other
need to-
piece to that many times, and I didn't put it in this packet, and I'll try to dig it out, but if you take a look at, as millages also drop off,
Mm-hmm.
okay, so the timing of okay, this,
You had that
if a
dog.
millage on I just say, for the fire is dropping off and they're okay, they're whole and they have money in the bank, it's a question of which they don't, but it's just a question of it, using that as an example. Well, then now may be a prudent time to ask for money when you realize it's not going to make you a huge dent in your overall budget.
And
for
the fire
your family
department, that'll be a renewal, so they're not asking for
Right,
more,
they're
it
not,
just
right, they're not
continues.
asking more. I just was using that as an example, but
Okay.
yes.
But you're right,
If the settlement fund drops off millage, which I believe it has or it will, it's just a question of now that's a time. And we're not trying to say, oh, now, we want more. It's just a question of we need to,
we'll just make a reasonable proposal, right?
Absolutely.
And then it'll be up to the voters,
Right.
but we know that it's important to them.
Yes, I agree.
I can't help but wonder, is that the only way to generate funds for the committee? What other options are there?
To my knowledge, there are, and again, we tried to review some of this. Some of the grants that we're looking into, like the Bill Davison Fund grant or other grants like that for, nature conservancies and things of that nature. A lot of times they can't be used for any kind of infrastructure, and by infrastructure, I would think like trail maintenance and that could be construed as you're gonna have to do something to maintain that. A lot of times they'll provide money for staffing, okay, so you can get some people who can advise us or to do, and we can write grants for that, but that doesn't put it back on the trail, that doesn't cut that tree down, that doesn't, take care of the weeds and whatever else, okay, so, but it's not like they also have a grant that's gonna provide, 5 different jobs that are all devoted to open space, so they're not that way. So, in answer to your question, I'm not so sure there are, unless somebody else knows, is there any other great funding source that we're aware of other than the,
I think it's worth exploring. So maybe that's something I'll take away of between now and the study session of researching some ideas. If there aren't any more, there aren't, but not that it's my forte, but I'm happy to try.
Sure.
Last I heard, the Groseville Nature and Land Conservancy was training somebody on grant applications. So if you talk to Paul Glore,
Yeah.
he may be able to help you with that,
Right.
because I wonder
grant
even like,
idea.
where we're gonna plant something instead of grass, right? We're gonna get rid of the turf grass and plant native flowers or something.
right.
If we could get some grants for some of that. Yeah.
But again, it may not rise to the level of like $40,000 a year and then being able to
Right.
sustain the programming that you sustain,
Yeah.
that we
Sure.
have.
Sure, I understand.
You can get a $2,000 grant from, the Audubon Society for, something, but, and again, wait, I'm not averse to doing that,
Yeah, or it could be something that could sustain the dump the junk,
yes.
right?
Right, oh, I know,
I don't know.
No, I hear you.
Yeah, it's worth checking out.
Oh, people are willing to give us money. Anybody wants to donate to Greenways Open Space, okay, the number is. Yeah. Okay, if you take a look at the next page, it's just like third page of this. And go to the bottom line where it says amended budget. It's like, it says open space fund, total revenues, total expenditures. All right, there's our budget number on the left-hand side, so where it says amended budget, 40,500, that's what we asked for. If you go to the next column where it goes year-to-date balance at the end of the year, 12/31/25, you'll notice, and again, this comes from the $4,724.23. Everybody see that? Okay, that comes from, I think, all the monies that the township invests with the municipal fund at the state level.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm
So
saying?
less
So like
than
all of a sudden,
5%.
how are we getting $4,000 on our monies? Well, that's part of our revenue. That
Okay.
comes from the interest from the overall, and I think how the township allocates it to all the different
Yeah.
departments and all that's reflected there.
It's a pooled investment. And
But yes, it's a pooled investment, absolutely.
Okay.
And then if you take a look at, this is what our actual expenditures were, 46,436. Everybody see that? So because of extra trees, extra this, maintenance, it was 46,000. So we budgeted 40,500. And keep in mind, that's our dedicated money in maintenance. So it's not like like we're running rampant, expenditures here. It's a question of, we're over budget, but there have been many years, like the prior year, we were under budget by 13,000. So it's like, okay, so,
Do we have to go back and do a budget adjustment?
yeah, yes, I believe so. Or at least that,
Do we-
I was told the,
Do we, or because we have basically a pot of money we're pulling
that's
out
all,
of?
that's my point. All they're gonna do is take it out of what we already have. So, okay, there's your
Right.
adjustment. Okay, you gotta pay your bills, and so we're gonna pay our bills.
I
And
think
we-
for
yeah.
accounting purposes though,
Yes.
so, but that's something we can ask Derek about
Yes,
on
about how do
Saturday.
you handle that, okay, how is that handled, and basically, I think it's just a question of shifting to make it,
It might have to be board approval or something, but, whatever the process
right,
is.
and I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, when it's a board approval, we may not be the only department that has any kind of cost overruns, okay, of their budget, and so they're gonna have to make that adjustment.
Yeah, it's not like they're gonna say no. I mean,
Well, they
It's-
can,
it's just-
okay, but it's
yeah,
like,
it's just following accounting
It's
rules,
like,
that's all.
exactly, I know that,
Yeah.
I'm just saying that. So, and if you take a look for the month, the third column over, bottom line there. So on a monthly basis, we received $387.97 for the month of December. And we had an expense of $2,800, if you see there, for the month of December. And if you go to the last page, turn the page, oh yeah, actually it's not there, okay. You should have had, yeah, mine doesn't have it.
Just shows.
You should have had just there are like three
Three items in
Three items
November.
that were in November, right? We had trees taken down and it gave an address on whatever street, $900. There's another one, TNT, for $700. There's one for $1,200 on Cheshire Court, right? So that's $2,800 there. So that's why there was an expense of $2,800 for the month of November.
Before our March meeting, can we have a line item
Yes,
breakdown
yes.
of all of our expenses from
Yes. For the whole
April,
entire year.
April
Yeah,
1st
the entire
to
year.
present?
Yep.
Thanks.
And I gotta believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, troops, that they should be able to should they not be able to break it down by category? Maybe not.
Well, just like we have here,
It'll be itemized like this, so they'll give us the same.
because we don't know whether the stone that they put in for the Parkway Trails included in these expenses right now, and that's
Correct.
maybe something that we're,
Something else might be coming, correct.
yeah, a liability we still have.
So any questions at all about the budget, about where we're at?
So is it the $5,936 number? Is that what we're over?
I'm sorry, yes, when you really look at the net amount there, yes.
Yeah,
So
and that
it's really $5
excludes,
grand.
that doesn't take the revenue into account, right?
No.
Okay. Thank
That-
you.
So does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So
I
see
just
where
wanted to
we're
make
at?
sure I was looking at the right number.
No, we're good. And again, in 1 month alone, there's $2,800 that we spent on clearing trees that were threatening people's property
Right.
or homes.
Park Lane, East River,
Right.
and Cheshire.
Cheshire Court, yep. Any questions?
So
Yeah, go ahead.
our budget for the year was 40,500.
Yes,
We're currently spent at $46,436,
yes,
and there's still 3 months left of the year, correct?
that is correct. So
Do
we
we
may
have
be,
additional expenditures we're forecasting?
not that I know of, other than as they come in.
More than likely, anything that may happen between now and March will be trees that have to be
Have to
removed
be removed.
because
So
of,
maybe, but as of today, as of this date, that's where we're at. And again, you see why, like the year before, it was like a 50, we had a budget of 50-some thousand, 51,005, and that may be able to cover this year, not last year. Last year, we didn't have as many tree removals or things of that nature, even with 2 dump the junks, because we only had 1 dump the junk this year,
That's true.
because of the
That's
bridge.
true. Hey, Bill, do you want me to just shoot a note to Teresa after the meeting? I have my inbox open.
Yeah, that'd be fine, yeah.
Okay, I'll do
that'd be
that,
great.
copy you on it.
That way, like, hey, help us out here.
Yeah.
Send us more money, is that what you're gonna send, text her? So any other question on the budget about where we're at? So as we move into the next month, we're gonna have to adopt a budget for 26-27 based on, the real numbers that we have at the end of February, I would suspect, right? So at least we can make a projection. And and to answer your question, like, why did we cut this, why did we do that? And there's good reason, or no reason. It's at one time, you have to make sure that we project it properly. Okay? Any other question or comments? Bert, I'll put you on the spot. Over the course of time, do you know off the top of your head what the highest amount, the budget that the open spaces had that we've spent in a year?
Well, was it 2 years ago in March when we had that really bad ice storm all over the island? And that just occurs to me because of what happened in our neighborhood. But I can look.
I think
you know,
most of that came out of the DPS budget net.
Oh.
Because didn't they offer to have the debris cleared away if we took it out to the
Trash.
the
Right.
street and that?
Right,
Yeah.
yeah.
It was in March.
I think it was March.
But I've been around, not that long enough, maybe 6-7 years now. on the open space budget, and we have never, to my knowledge, have spent more than $60,000 a year
Right.
in terms of any major expenditures. So we've stayed within budget. As a matter of fact, I believe this, to my knowledge, at least in the last number of years, this is the first time that we were over budget at any time.
You know, I mean, when we bought the property where the ferry trail is and things like that.
Oh,
you know.
of course, yeah, that's a whole nother, but that also came out of the acquisition fund, so you
Right,
had
right.
monies for that, right?
I think the budget overrun is a standard process for Teresa because we may not have, but other groups may have in the past. So
Yeah, yeah,
I
I'm
think
just
it's something
saying,
she
you know,
would
we're-
look at anyways and reach out.
But,
So,
but I'm a fiscal conservative, to believe it or not, and so it's just a question of, I don't like to see, well, what are you gonna do? You have to, there's certain realities to this that we have to address.
Bill, you and my husband, both.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Whether it works or, no, see, I'm also, I could argue, say, oh, I'm really used to, deficit spending and whatever from my home, but that's, sorry, dear, if you're watching.
Yeah, as we talk about this, and the mention was, well, if we run out of money, there's no more open space in that. But the removal of trees and that are still gonna take place around properties, and so it'll come out of somebody else's
Someone else is gonna have to
budget.
pay
It would have
for
to
it.
come from general
It
revenue.
comes from general revenues or
But-
general fund.
Or the
I think it would
DPS,
be
whatever.
the bare minimum, right? It would
Yeah.
just be cutting down trees that were blocking streets,
Right,
not
right,
necessarily
exactly.
blocking trails and.
Correct.
Yeah.
Good. Anything else on that one? Okay. That wasn't that painful. If you take a look at number 3, trail maintenance priorities, and I just want to put that out there. We have already, for next year's budget, we have already allocated, because we approved it this year, up to $5,000 to put culverts in the Parkway Woods, the trail that's there,
right,
that's
in Parkway.
behind the Jackson Center. So we've already allocated the money, or at least approved the money, now well, hopefully it's there, but for next year's budget, but that's number 1 priority, I know for sure. Any other priorities off the top of your head, or that you would consider that we need to take care of?
To restore some of those properties.
Restoration of the properties that we had encroachment. There's number 2.
And that may require somebody to get out there and show us the property lines.
Right?
And
So
that can
there's
get
like
expensive.
a survey of some sort. There's number 3.
Wait, I'm confused. I thought we were talking about trail maintenance
Well,
priorities.
we are, but it's also, it's a priority. You're correct, okay.
I'm sorry, I thought you were just naming priorities.
Just priorities, okay.
Yeah.
But trail maintenance priorities, you're right, are different.
And I think one trail that needs more of a priority is the wildlife sanctuary. There was that thing on Facebook that some people were walking around there and picked up a couple bags of trash from the wildlife sanctuary, and that was supposed to be my obligation to keep an eye on there, and I've been negligent about that.
Well, doggone it, would you?
I know, and so
I think she
I'm
just got
concerned
volunteer
about
of the
it.
year from
I'm
another
not keeping it-
organization,
I'm not
though.
keeping a good enough eye on it. I think it needs to be
Right.
prioritized a little bit more.
But here's one other thing that we know, with their wood chip, we still have lots of wood chips that probably could get put down, okay? And again, our issue with that is we're many times rely on the DPS, who are already spread pretty thin. And it's a question of like, oh, when can they do it? How can they do it? There's other issues and, but to us, it's really important. To them, it may not be the highest priority that they have to address. So,
I think it is a high priority for them. When I talk to them.
yeah, no,
And they got that new backhoe, so I think they like using it.
there you go. You've got a new backhoe, so we should be able to do
Yeah.
a lot. But anything else on trail maintenance? But we know at least those are,
I do still need to back up. I
Yep.
apologize.
no, go ahead.
So we're trying to define next year's, or the rest of this year's trail maintenance priorities?
Yes.
Okay.
My-
And,
I
and,
guess-
and that would set the focus for, what we're looking for as opposed to just a general list. I guess end goal is what I'm trying to understand with this particular
Determine
line
the
item.
budget, right?
Right.
Is it toward
Yeah,
the budget?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So we're trying to decide on a list?
No, we're just talking about it.
Got it.
Okay.
It's a discussion item, that's right.
That's
Okay.
right, okay.
I will say, water runoff areas, you know, like areas where the water's coming across, like how can we mitigate that better in certain areas? Island Ferry Trail has a couple of spots that
Yes.
are just awful. And I'm sure that it's not alone, cause like even when we walked the Parkway Woods Trail, or can't remember what it's called, the new one.
Right, the new one, right.
I know there's a lot of gravel that went down, but we've yet to see how that
Like,
behaves when
in
we
the
have the
spring.
soppy,
Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, so in those seasons, how to be able
Right.
to have trails that you don't have to walk across
culverts.
a bog.
yeah,
More
probably
culverts.
more culverts,
More
I would think, or
culverts.
something, yeah.
Those are costing money too, so.
Right,
You know, and, okay, let me ask this question of the group. Okay, does it make more sense? First off, I don't think we're gonna get culverts put in between now and April 1st. You think that's a safe assumption?
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
It all depends.
Odds
on
are
the
Oh,
you're
is
not
this
gonna-
about between now and April 1st? Our priorities?
no, I'm just like, yeah,
Oh. So
well, this,
confused. Okay.
this would be the best time to do it because the ground is frozen and you can get heavy equipment to take that back there.
Right.
If you don't do it by April 1, you're more,
Then you're
you're talking
pushing it
about
off.
June probably.
Yeah, right.
Before realistic you can get dry enough. So,
part of my thought, however, is that if you're already short of money, short of cash, and say, we've already say, oh yeah, we have $5,000.
Oh, yeah, I don't wanna spend that money
You
now.
don't wanna spend it now, you wanna put it on next year's budget.
Well, I just
Or,
need to
Either way, it's
understand.
coming out of our pot, but I'm just.
Well, there's realistic and then there's, you know, here's the list
Well,
of
yeah,
what-
in practicality, like, what can we do? I mean, if we can get it done, then I'm okay with that. Any other question about that? So, yeah, this is between now and where we're at.
I kind of want to
3
wait
months worth.
because we don't know what's coming down the road and what kind of budget we're gonna have or a millage. Like,
Right.
I kind of want to be careful in what we spend until we have a better idea of
Oh, totally.
what we're going to have
Right,
coming in.
exactly.
well, but keep in mind, we've already put a significant investment into the Parkway Woods and finishing that off, is probably in our best interest to complete that and then,
And be
you know,
done.
beyond that, yeah, I understand what
Stop
you're
there.
saying.
Well, how much would it cost again, Ray? How much?
Up to 5. We're not gonna spend more than 5.
So do you want me to just send a note to Derek and ask him how soon they think that they
Well,
could do
we're
that?
gonna
what
see him
time?
on Saturday, so, I mean.
I
we can
know,
ask
I
him.
was just like sending out notes. If I don't do it now, I don't do
Well,
it.
send him a note, yeah, that'd be
To
fine.
do what? Which part?
I'm gonna ask
Put the
Derek.
culverts in, the 2 culverts on the new Parkway Woods Trail that goes behind the Jackson Center.
Parkway
Like how soon?
Woods.
I'm okay with that. Any other discussion or comment about that?
Also, Lana talking about the Ferry Woods Trail, and is that what she was
Yes,
just talking about?
she said the
The-
Ferry
Yeah,
Woods
that's a place where I experience it.
Right.
But I also know,
Is
let's
it,
make sure Parkway Woods is finished off,
Yeah,
right?
right.
I mean, it was
Right.
Just,
you
yeah,
know,
right.
especially since
Get
it's
that first.
a good connector, partnership with the Nature Conservancy, et cetera. There are a lot of layers that makes that.
in the Ferry Woods Trails, are you talking about the section where there's a dip down, when you're coming in off a gauge, and then you make the big turn kind of at top of a
That's
little
one of
hill?
them, yeah.
That-
But also over where you recently removed the tree across, that whole kind of area, the water just follows the trail.
Yeah.
And so the trail becomes kind of a mini
Well,
stream.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's some drainage ditches
It's
along
not very
along
level.
in that
It's
area,
kinda
so
hilly.
perhaps we could
Right.
see if that needs to be cleaned out a little bit in that.
Right.
The other one at the bottom of that little hill, there is
Yeah.
a culvert there, but I think it's pretty much collapsing that, so that
Yes.
would have to be redone to restore that too.
Agree, yeah, but not between now
No.
and the next 3 months.
No, it's,
I get that, I was
Right.
just.
What's the name of the trail again?
Parkway Woods?
Well, Parkway Woods Trail.
Parkway Woods, okay, call it Park Woods.
Yeah.
Parkwoods.
Okay, anything else on trail maintenance? I believe we have number 4, that we're talking about is the social media and Instagram account. Andy, you wanna talk about that, or?
Yeah, I don't know, today, I don't know what made me do this, but, I decided to look up the, Greenways, and open space, on Instagram. And, I was wondering, Mickey, have you posted on Instagram for the Greenways Committee? Somebody has.
No, Alicia,
Yeah, the girls.
Alicia
the one who
did
has
it?
control of
She
that
posted on
account.
the Greenway site. Well, what I found on there, this is what I found on there. There was a description of the committee, you know, what the mission is, talks about the millage in a paragraph, and about dump the junk. There, so, I didn't even think of Alicia, but that may be where it came from. And, talked about also the wayfinding signage for the bike paths and open space for, you know, that we talked about last meeting from the bicycle and pedestrian committee. That's on there. And then the open space rules and regulations of open space. And it was written on there about the enforcement of open space property as far as encroachment, that there's a three-step inspection, and after 3 steps of, you know, repeated inspections, there's a $100 fine for ordinance violations. So that's about what's on there right now. And so maybe Alicia did put that on there.
Do you have that up on your phone, or?
No, I don't. I can real easily, but I just wrote this down because I wasn't going to rely on my phone.
Right.
So that's what's on there now. And it's a bit of a mishmash. And I know that Caitlin and Alicia, you know, have talked about it, but this may be it. And I would like to update it. And there's no pictures.
I was gonna say, are there any pictures?
There's one picture of the Free Bridge in 1925 or something, but
Right.
there were a whole bunch of pictures, but I don't know what it was connected to. They weren't really open space pictures. So, I know we keep talking about the social media, you know, portion for us that I think we're definitely kind of lacking on. And I know,
I agree.
you know, Yolanda did that presentation. Was it last fall, Yolanda, when you did the social media?
Yeah, it was last summer in the special meeting, but
Yeah.
I've yet to get access to this account, and Alicia and I keep
And that was
missing
my
each
other
other.
question. Who has access to this account?
Alicia's the only one I'm aware of.
Which is Instagram?
Instagram.
All right. I'll talk to Alicia Shelton. I'll send
Ask
her
her
a note, like about, hey, we all need access. And about, particularly Yolanda, I would think would need access.
Well, and to expand on just the social media presence as a whole, I mean, there's a large presence from the township on Facebook. And I think we talked with James about, you know, do we need to have our own separate account, or is it, but you know,
That's
people
another
having
thing.
more accounts to follow is kind of
Yeah.
Right.
challenging. So I feel like the better that we can fold into existing accounts is the better
I
strategy.
agree, right.
Good point.
We also have the newsletter that goes out once a month,
Right.
and so we can always put in
We've supplied stuff to them, very
Yeah.
much so.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, from a township standpoint, I would think you would want whatever kind of goes out there, at least like you want the message to be clear and consistent and accurate, as opposed to social media. You know, I'm not on Instagram, so.
Yeah, that's,
But,
yeah.
but, you know, that's an important piece too, okay, because like when we talk about $100 fines, well, maybe it's 500, okay, so maybe the information isn't accurate.
Yeah, well, that's
No.
why there needs to be a
That's
strategy
why
around
there has to
it
be,
and
exactly.
a process.
And a process, I agree. So maybe we will, when we're looking at our goals, maybe we want to put that one back on there and tighten that up a little bit, so.
An approval process, so especially when you're saying something like that, that it goes through a couple of people to
Yeah,
get
right,
approved.
exactly.
Oh,
get approved,
exactly,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, it's just
I'm a
I'd be
huge
curious to know.
believer.
No, I agree. I'm just saying, I guess we'll find out.
Need to check the township too.
Mickey, at one of the township board meetings in the last year, I thought I heard some discussion that any social media as it relates to the township and that, Brian Friel needs to have access to that. Because if,
Right.
particularly so it's, continuity, if somebody drops and all that stuff and it still has that
Yeah,
township
somebody,
information.
they lost access to a password, and one of our groups had to change their Facebook page. And so, I do think that's a good thing, to make sure he always has the password and he's linked in
Right.
if we're gonna do one that's not the township. Yeah,
Yeah. Or when that person leaves and doesn't give you the password, then you're kind of stuck.
and they had
Right.
quite a few followers too, and had to change it.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah.
So anything else on that?
Oh, that's it.
Okay, good, thank you. Our next, at least discussion point, is this the 250th anniversary planning?
Actually, goals and objectives.
Oh, goals and objectives, the last thing I'll talk about then, okay. So if you take just a minute or two to look at your packet, there's the purple sheet in the packet, and then attached to it is like this year's goals. So I'll put them in reverse order. If you go to the white sheet here, and we talked about this at our last meeting, just briefly. And again, how successful we were many times, we can make that determination. And I believe we also report that to the township board, like, give them an annual report in terms of like, hey, we were good here, we missed the mark here, this is still in progress. So that's coming. So the goals and objectives for 25-26 were continued monitoring open space areas, 2 dump the junk, and we know we only did 1, correct? We're trying to expand our engagement with the schools and increase participation, and we know, quite frankly, we're lacking in that regard, okay? And there's an issue. I would like to do more. We're collaborating with the Nature and Land Conservancy, and I think we've been meeting on a quarterly basis for sure, okay, with them, and we certainly have a liaison, and we're working with the outreach programs. I think we need to revisit the champion or partner part relative to the master plan. I mean, we had the study session last winter, and we looked at the master plan, and then we said, oh yeah, but we know we're a high priority, but we need to then, like, okay, where are we going with that? Okay, what should we need to maybe have that guide us for for 26, 27. And then our social media presence to improve communication with Groseville residents, that was a goal. If you turn the page or go back to the purple sheet, and again, this was just a draft, I pretty much repeated the first 2. So, we're gonna keep doing the monitoring the open space and maintaining the existing trails. We're gonna try to do 2 dump the junks again in the spring and in the fall. So one of our next meetings we'll be talking about in March certainly is, okay, when can we do a dump the junk? So we can get that information out for the spring. I combined the 2 that we had before, and I just was playing with this, okay, so we can wordsmith this. Collaborate with the township schools and the nature and increase participation in Greenway open space activities. I mean, there could be, rather than saying we're gonna try to do programming K through 12, and we're gonna then work more with the Nature and Land Conservancy, I just combine those 2. I mean, this is just for a point of discussion. This work as champion or partner is the same that we did last year. And the bottom 2, last 2, increased participation in open space encroachment enforcement procedures and restoration plans. That's part of the policy and the procedures that, that the township is following and that we have a part in, that maybe we need to be aware of. And if nothing else, people, we need to be aware of, there's, like this citizen complaint form that kind of initiates the process in the first place. So you can call the township, you can call, but you still have to at least do some sort of paper documentation or some sort of documentation that we have to look at. So that's that one, that what we have a role in that. We have a greater role than we had, perhaps even this year, okay, that we're gonna have. And then lastly, the successful campaign for Greenways Open Space Millage in 2026. And if that's a decision in 2026 or 2027, when we actually go for the millage, then that's another thing we can look at. But these are just some thoughts, and if you wanna chew on that for a while or take a look at it, and then you can either talk about it if we have a little time on Saturday, or certainly we know for our March meeting, we'll have to adopt the budget. We'll have to, we've already we've already taken care of some of the business by electing officers and setting dates and doing that kind of stuff, okay? But now we have to do, we have to look at our budget, we have to look at our goals and how well we did.
I think we should add the social media again, but say social media and communications.
Yep.
To help us support for requesting a millage.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah,
know,
so,
in
okay,
general,
yeah,
but
right, I
also
know what
to
you're saying.
target-
Yep, so put that back in, that's fine.
Yep.
You know, part of me says it has to be that should be a matter of course for us, but it's not, okay? You know, we'd like to think, well, well, if you can't have access to it, then it's like, that's problematic. We try to get information out in the Grosio Grand, or we put stuff in the newsletter that the township, puts out, and does a very nice job, by the way. I think that's very good. But it's a question of, we can add the social media. Anything else you think we need to add?
I just have a question, and I think it's covered under maintenance, but the signage we have for the open space plots in there, are we pretty much got the signage replacements
I
and
think we're pretty
new
good,
ones?
in pretty good shape.
We're up.
Yeah, I think so. We got new signs. I mean,
Yeah.
we were in budget, and we kept it in budget, and we did that.
I just wonder,
But
is
yeah,
there
I don't think
anything
there's
else
any-
like replacements or additions we
Well,
need?
one of the things we did was go with the signs, is that we had, like, this past year, 2025, we went and we kind of, even before that, late 24, we went and cleaned up about every open space sign there is to be had on Grosseal, okay? And whether they're yay or nay, and we had to replace some, so we ended up, like, replacing, for the most part.
They look great too.
And,
The new
and
ones look great.
there's new signage there, and it's good. Plus those little small rules and regulations for the trails. I mean, we have those are still in place, right, Bob? They're in the neighborhood there. And I think after a while, the initial shock that, oh, how dare you? It's a question of, there's rules and regulations about what you can and can't do in the woods, okay? So, but those are up, and they've been up.
What about the bicycle and pedestrian project to get the signs
That's
up?
coming, okay, I haven't heard any more, and I think Paul Glure sent an email to Brian Pollock, and I was involved in that, but I think there's a meeting coming up, but I haven't, the bicycle pedestrians haven't yet, but I think our DDA, Sean, would maybe know more about that, or should know more.
Okay. I asked Jameson, and he said he would make sure that we had a kickoff meeting with all
Yes,
parties.
yes,
But I didn't know the timing on that, if it was gonna be next budget year.
I don't
or-
know, I
So
don't know.
maybe we put a placeholder. I mean, will we need any budget, or will they be getting the budget for that?
Well, I think it's whatever, my understanding, it's gonna be, they work towards a grant. There's already grant monies, or at least it's either been approved or it's in the process of being approved, and it's coming. So that's money that, the bicycle pedestrian township officials, I mean, people have that they'll.
So maybe we list it as
But
an
we'd also
objective,
like
but
to
we don't
say,
ask for.
okay, if you're doing this kind of signage, what kind of signs do we need, like directional signs in the middle of the woods, right? Because people get lost on the trails. I mean, does this go to East River? They lose their direction. I mean, there's a lot.
I think
If they're in the winter, right now, if you've been in the woods, I mean, it's very easy to get turned around like,
It is.
Hey,
But do
I-
we
I
add it as an objective but not request funds?
yes,
Do we leave it on this page, add it to this page as well?
we could, yeah. I know what you're saying.
I believe BPAC has approved monies for a, how do we call it, consultant or a contractor to develop a planned for that. And that comes out of their funds. Now, they canceled their January meeting, so I don't know what update there is in regards to that.
Okay.
Right. But I know, but one of our last discussion points, we were talking about this wayfaring or, placemaking and things of that nature, and, to know, what part can you help us with, or can we help you?
Right.
Right.
Just to be involved.
Good. Because one of the goals we're trying to do is connectivity more ways than one on Grosse Ile, seriously. So any other question about that or any discussion? Okay, and the last little piece is that we received not only the Greenways open space, but I think all organizations on Grosse Ile have received a letter that came from the Grosse Ile 250th Anniversary Planning Committee, which is through the combination of the Rec Department, the Township Board, and the Grosse Ile Historical Society. So they're trying to get, and I'll just read this briefly. Let it be known the 250th invites the community to join planning the 250th anniversary of Grosse Ile, Michigan. On July 6, 1776, William and Alexander Macomb acquired Grosse Ile by signing a treaty with 18 chiefs of the Potawatomi people, making the beginning of the island's recorded history. I won't read the whole thing. So, but we believe that many successful celebration will be one shaped by many organizations, businesses, faith communities, clubs, and individuals who make Grosse Ile special. We help all to help envision and take part of this historic anniversary. And they're having an initial planning meeting, so if any of you would like to attend as a member of, just as a citizen, or as a member of Greenways Open Space, February 11th at 6:30 in the second floor boardroom. This is the Merle Solomon boardroom that we're in right now. So next at 6:30 is the 11th is what, next Monday?
No, it's Wednesday, I think. I think Monday's the
Yeah,
night.
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Is it Wednesday? Okay, I'm sorry. It's next Wednesday at
6:30.
6:30 here. So make a note if you want to do that. Yes? And so if nothing else, start thinking about just, creative thought in terms of, okay, in July, what kind of things can we do, or even in June, leading up to it, what kind of things can open space do to help celebrate the 250th anniversary, not only of the United States, but 250th anniversary of Grosse Ile,
Grosse Ile.
right?
Interesting how the island and the country have the same birthdays.
Right, very close, yeah.
I've never thought of that before.
One July 4th, and the other one is,
July
6th.
Did I
Yeah,
hear you
July
say?
6th is when the deed was signed, right, 1776. I know it.
I do know that the Historical Society has really done a lot with the island history, and
Right.
I just heard the other day that they're doing decades of U.S. history
Yes.
and Grosse Ile history at the same time. And so they've been really working hard on that. I'm going to try to get more connected to that.
Right, no, it's great. Any other comment about that? So yeah, so just put your thinking caps on, I think that we could do some cool things with open space and Grosse Ile history.
So who's going to the meeting?
Maybe me.
I can swing by, but I'd be late, so.
I'm sure, just throw your hat there, find out what's going on. It's open to the public, I think, open to any group, so you're part of any group. Good, anything else? All right, churches are gonna be there, I know. School liaison would be nice, okay, I know in second semester now, so they're back in the swing of things, and they're probably gonna have they've had enough snow and cold days, I know, to keep it interesting. So, I think they're gonna have a midwinter break coming up, if I recall.
Yeah,
So,
February.
it's Anyway, so, Mickey, anything going on with the township that we need to be aware of?
No, but I did want to mention something. I
Okay.
actually put in the township newsletter that I want to get together an informal group, so it won't be a township board, committee, or commission, but a group that's willing to look at how to keep Grosedale beautiful and sustainable, you know, how to be environmentally friendly. And so last summer, I had somebody, it was actually Doug Thiel, suggest that we look at the kind of products we're using to spray the weeds, right? Because we know those can cause cancer, it can damage the environment. And so they're experimenting with one that doesn't have all those chemicals in it, right? And so I'm going to talk to Derek and nail down kind of how they did with that. But I'd like to put together a group, like you hear of Ann Arbor, how it has a sustainability plan. And I'd like to do something like that for Groseal. And then sometimes we'll present things to the board. Other times it might be recommendations we're making to homeowners or businesses. But so I'm asking folks to reach out to me. They can call the township and leave me a message, and then I'll pull together a kickoff meeting. But I think there's a lot of things that we can do.
much
So
so.
I'm excited to work on that this year.
Good,
Nice.
awesome. Good,
Yeah, I saw that in there.
Did you? Good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good. I'm glad
nice.
I'm glad people are reading the
Okay.
newsletter.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Something that,
Is the newsletter only on the township site? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no,
It goes on Facebook too. I've seen it on Facebook.
Is it on
yeah.
That's
yeah,
where I
the
found it.
township
Right, exactly.
Facebook page?
Yeah,
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, and you know what? It just came out.
Sorry.
And so
Don't they send it
Right,
by
it
email?
came out for
and
February.
Is it Red Alert also sends it out too? I thought I've gotten it to a text message also.
you know what?
access
I
to
don't
it.
know. I can ask Margaret to see all the forms that it sent out.
right, let us know. Bert, you had a comment before, or a question?
Sorry, Bert. Sorry.
oh, that's okay. No, I was gonna say, I was at the Groseal Nature and Land Conservancy Education Committee meeting last night, and one of the programs that's gonna be coming up is Healthy Lawns and Gardens. We did that a few years ago, quite a few years ago, and so we're going to revisit that topic, which will fit in with what Mickey was talking about in terms of, you know, how to environmentally friendly deal with your lawn and stuff. There'll be a speaker from the Michigan Green Industry Association that will be
Awesome.
doing that.
When is
And
that, Bert?
I don't think there's a date yet, but
Okay.
it's, you know,
But
it's
they're gonna
in the
roll that out,
works.
yeah.
Yeah, let me know, and I can talk about it at the board meeting too.
Yeah,
Okay.
Good,
And Bert, let me know too, will you?
yeah.
right. James isn't here with community development, but Mandy, you have anything from the Groseal Nature and Land
Of course,
Conservancy?
Of course. That was interesting from Bert. Other little tidbits from the Conservancy is that the Nature Conservancy is working really hard with Dr. Roscoe's environmental science class on a project called Did You Know? The students are preparing short videos on an environmental topic of their choice, and they're going to be shared via social media. So the Conservancy has made a strong link with the school and Dr. Roscoe's class, and two of the members, Paul, Glora, and Madeline, went to the high school to talk to her class one day. I think that went pretty well. I saw a video of it. And as far as February events, Tuesday, February 17th, Secret Love Life of Birds, 6 to 7:30 at the Jackson Center on Macomb. Have you ever noticed the courtship and nesting behavior of birds in your yard when it gets to be spring? Boy, I have. So that's 17th, which is a Tuesday at the Resource Center. And then the following Saturday on February 21st, tracks and scat time. 1 to 2:30 p.m. at the airport natural area on East River Road. Trying to find out who's there and who's been, who lives there and what are the critters that are there. So please come along to find evidence of the wildlife and tough out the winter seasons here on the island. Airport Natural Area, Saturday, February 21st at 1 o'clock. So that's it.
Good.
Oh, one more thing. I'm sorry. Sorry, I
Quite all right.
apologize. Also, the Conservancy has been involved in supporting this initiative called Help Save the Sibley Prairie. And I researched it a little bit more today. I've been out of the loop about it. But this is an area between Telegraph and let's see,
King.
it's West Road, King Road,
King Road.
Telegraph, and
Inkster.
Inkster. Thank you.
Right.
Thanks. It's a original prairie, and it's one of the few left in the state. With has just magical gardens: asters, goldenrods, lupine, ironweed, milkweeds, mountain mint, etc. And it's a gardener's delight. And there's a big move to keep it from being plowed under because some people want to develop it and put I'm not too sure what on there, but there's a site to visit called SaveSibleyPrairie.org if anyone is interested in it, and I know I'm going to donate to it. So help save the Sibley Prairie.
Right. Because it's up for sale.
Yeah,
Yes.
right. It's up for sale, right?
Good.
Okay.
Anything else?
I got a public question.
Yes. Sure.
What do we pay for with dump the junk?
I'm sorry?
Dump the junk? Where does the expense come from for dump the junk? Like we're paying to have,
Comes out of, I think we pay for the dumpsters.
we pay for the dumpsters?
Yeah.
Do we have to pay the township back it off for coming out there with the backhoe or,
No, not that I know of.
Okay,
That
so it's
does
all
not-
the
That does not
dumpsters
come out of
and-
our budget.
okay, good. That's what they were
That comes
asking.
out of, right. No,
Okay.
not at all.
I had a couple things
Yes.
to add. So coming up the weekend, February 13th through the 16th, is the Great Backyard Bird Count, which is sponsored by the Cornell Ornithological Laboratory and the Audubon, and also the Wild Birds Unlimited. And so people can do that in a group, or they can do it just peeking out of their kitchen window. It's birdcount.org is where you go for information. And what's involved, it's a community science gathering that is global. And people are, so using like eBird or Merlin app, this used to be done on spreadsheets and, you would turn this in, but now it's done digitally. But you, just by watching a minimum of 15 minutes and identifying as best you can the birds that you see, and it's a way to keep track of, from all this input, what are the trends in bird survival and appearances and stuff. So it's a very fun thing to see.
We used to have classrooms of biology students do that years ago, so
Right,
it was cool. It was really cool. Good. Anything else? Are there any other comments from the public at this time?
This one said thank you.
Okay, yes.
She just texted me.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, I would entertain a motion to adjourn at 8:22.
So moved?
Moved by Ms. Bartlett,
Second.
second by Mr. Banny. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed, you get to stay here. Okay, good. Thanks. Thank you.